I'm Peter Jones, editor at County Deer Stalking. It's December, and in this month's film we're looking at the need for speed. Deer stalking is usually a considered form of hunting. However, for woodland stalkers in particular, there is sometimes a need to be able to react quickly to your circumstances. This is especially true for professional deer managers who often have specific cull requirements to meet. We've got a roe deer just lying down in the dense woodland over there. I think we can probably make a little bit more ground, so we're going to come up a little bit and see whether we've got a buck or a doe. So as I say, just up ahead, about 50 yards, we've got a roe deer. Now it's December, and at this time of year you have to be very, very careful whether you've got a buck or a doe. So you have to look for that anal tush, and the reason for that is because the bucks have cast their antlers. So you haven't got that giveaway, that telltale sign that you get with roe deer at other times of year, because at this time of year you can't look for antlers for buck. Now this one, about 50 yards ahead, because the woodland is so dense, we're unable to look at that anal area. So we're unable to see whether we've got a doe or a buck. So on this occasion, unfortunately, we're just going to have to let that deer go by. What I would say, however, is that in December also, the roe bunch up into family groups. So where you've got one roe deer, very often you've got 3 or even 4 sometimes. But around that sort of number, because they're in their family groups. We're just going to watch and wait for that reason and see if another animal shows itself. Whilst waiting to establish that there are more roe nearby, a chance glance off to my right reveals a fallow doe stood observing us from the trees. I quickly change position and get onto the sticks for a kneeling shot. Now the roe is still standing. Look over to the left, Ewan. Look over to the left. There is a roe deer. The fallow is down. Can you see it? Yeah. Do you see the roe deer? Yeah. Yeah, that's its rump. It's amazing what a shot in the woods can do. Even though we've just taken that shot just off to the right, we've just shot a fallow doe. A roe doe is just, no, it may be a roe buck, looking at it, there's no sign of an anal tush, but there's a roe deer. We're not going to take it, but it's only about 50 yards up in front of us in the wood, completely oblivious to what's happened and completely ignoring the shot that's just gone off. That's one of the joys of a moderator. Now if you want to just get back on that fallow, keeping an eye on that, because that fallow, you could hear from the sound of the shot, absolutely a good solid thud, and the animal dropped on the shot. Sorry, dropped on the spot. Okay, so this is woodland stalking for you. In dense cover, this is the type of thing that you can happen, and this is what you've got to be aware of. So what happened here, I don't know whether you caught this on camera, I hope you did. Off to our left here, we were concentrating on a roe deer. You could see the white rump in the dense woodland. I was concentrating on that because where you see one deer at this time of year, you've often got 3 or 4 because they're in family groups. But just as I was scanning around, up ahead of me, about 70 or 80 yards, there was another deer looking straight at us, quartering on. This was a fallow doe. Now, choosing the easier option here in front of me, and because fallow have the priority on this ground, we changed our position and we got onto that fallow deer, and I was able to take a nice heart-lung shot. What's astonishing here though in woodland stalking is despite that loud bang in the woods, the roe deer was completely unperturbed. And I think we panned round onto the camera and you could see back off to our left, the original deer that we'd been looking at was still stood absolutely stock still. She wasn't even alarmed by a shot. And this is fantastic use of a moderator. In these sort of woodland environments it's ideal, or in any environment. The deer, whilst they hear the bang of the sonic boom of the bullet, they find it very difficult to identify the muzzle blast and where that's come from. So really good example there of the use of moderators. We've given it 5 minutes now, so what we're going to do is we're going to go down and we're going to retrieve our fallow. Okay, so fantastic here. We've come a little bit further on and there's our fallow deer. You can see it lying still there in the leaves. Now, it's always worth checking at this stage that there's no sign of movement. There's no twitch in the ears or twitch in the animal that might indicate that there's any life in her. Nonetheless, when you're approaching, it's well worth and good practice to approach from the other way, out of sight. If there is any life in her and she can see you approaching, she'll try and get back up. But if you come in from behind, then you know you're out of sight and you're ready to react if you need to. So what I do at this stage, best practice, is I'll circle round slightly and come in there from behind her. Okay, so what we've done, we've come in, we've done the eye blink test, checked that she's dead. She's a nice young animal, absolutely stunning looking beast. And if you pan back a little bit here, this is her couch. This is where she's been lying up. And what's happened, I think, is she's noticed us coming up through the wood. She's stood up from her couch, and that's when we've been able to see her. But that's where she's been lying up here. Okay, so as ever in these situations, we know that she's dead, we're going to unload our rifle. Okay, let's see what we've got. Now, as I say, from back there we had a quartering shot, so let's have a little look, see where we've hit her. Here we go. So this is our entry wound. She's quartering on and we've struck her here. This is kind of the ideal shot placement, but shooting off sticks, well, you might expect an inch or two either way, but nonetheless that's a good strong heart-lung shot. Glimpses of deer in the woods can often be fleeting. Here a muntjac buck passes by 50 yards to our right. We also spy a roe deer moving stealthily through the woods in front of us. Stalking the woods will often require the use of shooting sticks, and so practicing getting on the sticks quickly is time well spent. Let's take a brief look at the techniques of getting the rifle from the shoulder to the sticks. Okay, so with dense woodland stalking, sometimes you have to be quick. Sometimes there's a real need to be fast onto the sticks. Deer stalking on the whole is a very considered sport, but with dense woodland stalking, as I say, just occasionally that opportunity arises when you just need to be quick, get on the sticks and take the shot. So let me demonstrate how to do this. Now, there's two different ways of carrying your rifle. One is muzzle down, like I'm carrying it now, and one is muzzle up. Now, what I'm going to demonstrate here is how to get the rifle off the shoulder, onto the sticks, and take the shot. Very, very quickly. You want to be able to do that sometimes in a few seconds, especially when you've got a deer like muntjac. Very active, they'll cross rides and move through the woodland in a very, very fast fashion, so you need to be quick. So I'm going to demonstrate taking the rifle off my shoulder, onto the sticks, and we'll take the shot onto the steel muntjac target here. So let's give that a try. So there's our muntjac, sticks open, reach under, onto the sticks here, up, and then shot. Let me show you that again, and this time I'll actually take the shot. So safety's on. What we're going to do, close our sticks as if we're walking through the woodland. I'm going to take the shot this time. The deer's here in front of us. We spot our deer on the ride, open sticks, hand under, onto the sticks, safety off, shot, reload, and we're on. And you can see we placed a nice heart lung shot. So that's how to get it off the shoulder quickly when the muzzle is down. What I'm going to demonstrate now is how to do it if you've got the muzzle up. Again, here we are. So this time muzzle up. Alright, this is a slightly different movement. I'm going to do it once without taking the shot, and then I'll do it the shot afterwards. So again, here we go. Spot our muntjac, sticks up, grip the pistol grip, roll it up, pop it on the sticks, and you're on, safe to catch off, and the shot. Okay? Now what I'd say, just be very, very careful here, that if you are muzzle up, that you've got no one stood behind you, because the bow is going to move round in an arch. Okay, so be very, very careful, no one is stood behind you. This is not a technique to use if you're in company with someone else. If you're on your own, however, take this movement, use this movement, it's very effective. So let's try that again and put that into action. So, there's our muntjac, open the sticks, grip the rifle, onto the sticks, safety off, and there's our shot. Reload, safety on. And that's basically how we take a quick shot off the sticks in dense woodland. That's it for December. If you'd like to get some practice in using shooting sticks, then why not contact us for some tuition. In the meantime, let me take this opportunity to wish all our viewers a very happy Christmas.